Hi, everybody. How are you? I am Tracee Dunblazier. I'm a spiritual empath, shaman, and author. And I'm here today to talk to you about conflict resolution. But not just conflict resolution, but what that means from a spiritual perspective. What is conflict? La, 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 la. What is conflict resolution from a spiritual or energetic perspective? Everything that happens, everything that we experience in our physical world, our minds, our mental world, our emotions, it all occurs in a finer vibrations of our spirit, of our aura, of our spiritual experience before it happens anywhere else. And that's what I mean when I talk about conflict resolution and conflict that occurs spiritually first. It could be something that's going on in your soul. It could be something that's going on in your DNA. Could be something going on that is a physical habit or an ancestral habit that is reoccurring, that exists. And there we go. Sorry about that. Let's turn that off. Sometimes I forget these things. Anyway, so when you're dealing with the spiritual recognition of conflict resolution, the most important thing to consider when seeking to resolve any conflict is to look at the steps that it took to get there. What happened before the conflict? What happened in the preceding 5 minutes, 10 minutes, in the several years? Is this an ongoing conflict? Are you in a relationship with somebody and there's a continual ongoing conflict that happens? Is there a theme in your life where you continually run into the same types of people with the same types of conflict, or people give you feedback about yourself and it's over and over the same things that you hear from multiple people? That's the kind of conflict we are talking about today. It's really important to recognize that the real basis of the conflict, spiritually speaking, always goes back to unresolved self-image and a lack of self-acceptance. That's right. You heard me right. It always comes back to you, who you are, where you're at, how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, and your ability to embrace all of who you are on every level. So you might be hearing this and going, well, that doesn't make any sense. So and so is an asshole, and they're mean, or they're cruel, or they always do these things, and it's their fault. And absolutely, I'm not diminishing that there are bad people in the world who do bad things, and when they do those bad things, it is their fault. But ultimately, in any relationship we have, whether with people who we are just getting to know or have had long-term relationships with, we have everything is a mirror to our own relationship with ourselves. How we are treated, the energy we always end up around. Again, this is a spiritual thing. I want to take you out of the victimized mindset. There's a victimized mindset that says, everything happens to me. My life happens to me. And we're not talking about that. That is something else. We're going to take that and just sit it to the side so that we can have this conversation in hopes that if you continually find conflict in other people or yourself on any level, it's because there is a deep-seated relationship of a lack of self-acceptance with you. Now, when you're in an actual conflict, an argument, a heated discussion, the one thing that you can change almost immediately, that will change how a interaction goes, is being mindful of the language that you use. it is very common for people to use inflammatory language, which is language that is emotionally weighted with criticism, anger, and judgment. Anytime you want to say you always or you never, right? Always and never. That's just not true. It just always and never aren't true. Using language like, I had some good ones earlier. You're talking about something, and oh my God, that woman was so crazy. That crazy woman. Why are you getting so crazy? Why don't you just chill out? You're just so crazy, right? Crazy is an inflamed word to use. You're making a judgment on somebody and their emotional presence, right? One of the things I talk a lot about in the new book, Conquer Your Karmic Relationships, is drama equals trauma. You hear that, that's a buzzword that a lot of folks use right now is, oh, they are, he is such drama. Okay. Anytime somebody says or refers to something or someone as drama equals trauma. If someone is being dramatic, it's because they are in pain. They hurt. They're sad. They're grievous. They are ungrieved. They feel rejected. They don't feel hurt. I mean, they feel hurt. They don't feel heard. So consider that anytime you want to use the word drama or crazy, that those are inflamed language that you use to judge somebody else. And it's not going to get you where you want to go. No, it is not going to get you where you want to go. Here's the thing. The more you continue to keep somebody in a conflicted dynamic, the more it weighs on you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. That shit will just sit on your head and your heart until you find a way to resolve it, till you get to the bottom of it. That's when we experience things like disappointment, deep grief, humiliation, revengeful feelings. When we experience those emotions are arrows that stick to us to the point at which we must find them. They stick, and we have to go into wherever they're pointing to resolve within ourselves what the real issue is, why we are concerned with what somebody else is saying and doing. Okay? And while people should not be jerks, oftentimes they are. Ultimately, we have the power to be able to go in and resolve our relationship to something. And oftentimes we are ungrieved. We have not mourned an experience. We've not had the opportunity to mourn. We don't even know what grieving and mourning is because we have shut down our emotional channels to the point at which we don't feel because the pain is so continual and so often. So, I want you to consider that when you are constantly finding yourself in a conflict with someone or something, and what you can do about that. You're the one that has the power to make those changes. Okay. One of the things that if you've watched any of these videos, I always start out one place, but we always end up in forgiveness, self-acceptance, and compassion. Those are the three things that forgiveness, self-acceptance, and compassion. Those are the three things that you're always going to end up in that place when you are working with your emotional body and looking to create balance. You're going to end up in all three of those places. So when you are looking to resolve a conflict, remember that ultimately people want to be accepted, first by themselves and then by others. People want to be heard and acknowledged. Okay? We can't always go back in the past and change what we did. Most of the time, we can't do that at all. And sometimes we can't remedy the consequences of the actions we may have taken. But what we can do is acknowledge what our actions and choices, the way in which they impacted another person, hear them out, recognize their pain, and apologize. Let's talk about an apology. There are a lot of people out there who think, well, I don't believe in apologies. And I hear you. But if you don't apologize, then you're not really, an apology basically says, I hear you. I've heard what you've said, and I now understand the impact of my actions. It doesn't say anything else than that. It says, I hear you and I understand you, and I can't do anything about that, and I'm sorry for that. That's what an apology is. So people need to be accepted, heard, acknowledged, and then ultimately we all want to be forgiven and released from a relationship dynamic. First, by ourselves, and second, from others. If we are in a conflicted dynamic, we need to forgive ourselves first and to let go. But ultimately, yes, we want to be released by that other person, place, or thing. We want that. We want to be released of it. We don't always get that, which is why ultimately it comes back to your own self-acceptance, your own relationship to yourself, and forgiveness and compassion. Forgiving yourself means that you let go, that you don't continue to focus on that event. Here's the thing. When we talk about forgiveness, forgiveness isn't, it's not just about letting it go. That's one of the things I talk a lot about in this book is letting go of something isn't really just letting go. Letting go means you go through an entire process of grieving an experience that you've had and mourning the transition from having experienced the negative impact of the situation to being willing to no longer focus on it. And being willing to no longer focus on it means that we've actually processed out the emotion so that we don't feel it. So when you actually forgive someone or yourself, you are starting anew. Starting anew. Don't we all just want to start anew? So when you are forgiving yourself or someone else, you are beginning again. And you have grieved what happened, acknowledged, accepted and felt all of the emotion, moved it through you, and then you've mourned the situation, which means whatever it was within you that got you in that situation, that you've changed that. You've thought about it, you recognized it, you've decided you no longer want to do that, and you move on from it. You don't harbor ill will towards yourself or frustration, judgment, or criticism, right? You recognize what you need to do, and then you move forward to do it. Yes. So those are some thoughts for you on conflict resolution. The last thing I want to talk about is Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is a Huna tradition. The Huna of Hawaii, the Kahuna people of Hawaii have a tradition where they use the word Ho'oponopono, and I'm going to read to you. I feature it in this book because it is when you need forgiveness or to quell anxiety. Ho'oponopono means to make right, establish harmony, correct what is wrong, and restore things to order. Yes, restore things to order. So when you say Ho'oponopono, what you're doing is you are claiming those four things for yourself. You're forgiving yourself, you're loving yourself, you're thanking yourself, and you are restoring balance for yourself. And when you restore balance for yourself, you will find that your interactions with whatever your environment brings you is going to be very different relationship to the outside world and what raises up in the space around you. So these are some things to consider. If you, the book is out right now. It's in pre-sale. It launches it's released on August 3rd. Oh my God, that's 1 month away. Holy crap. Anyway, so please go to any bookstore and pre-order your copy, or go to Amazon and pre-order your copy. Anywhere you pre-order the copy, it's going to reserve it for you, but it's also going to really help with how many books that all the bookstores order, because they want to know that people want this book, and I know you do. This book is it's a life manual. And it's got information about every aspect of your life and your relationship to yourself and your karmic relationships with yourself and others. So definitely pick up a copy. Conquer your karmic relationships, heal spiritual trauma to open your heart and restore your soul. And as always, I love it that you're here. Let me look and see if I see that Sat is here. Hi, nice to see you. If anybody has any questions, now's a great time to join in. Okay, let me see. Well, they're not saying that there are new messages below, but I'm not seeing them. Okay, well, yeah. Alrighty then. If there are no questions today, anytime you want to write a question after the fact, they will always notify me, and I can come on and address it for you. And if you want to reach me, you can go to TraceeDunblazier.com. That's TRACEE Dunblazier, DUNBLAZIER.com. If you're interested in my books and other items, you can also go to beaslayer.com and check out hashtag #BeASlayer, so you can see what we've been doing. So anyway, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that this has been helpful, and have a magnificent weekend. Thank you.